Eye Contact, a Mark Manny Mystery, Book 2. Author, Michael Kraft. Publisher, Open Road Integrated Media, New York. Narrator, Eric Ost. Professor Zarnick checks his watch. It's 11 o'clock, and he quickens his pace. Even though he keeps his own schedule at the planetarium, he knows that he slept too late and dawdled too long at home this morning, traversing the long hallway. He stops just long enough to drop some change into a gaudy vending machine with a chunk. A can of Diet Right lands in the black plastic trough near his knees. Already burdened with 2 tote bags and a smaller sack containing his lunch, he struggles to consolidate the load in one arm, while he stoops to pluck the can with his free hand. His chrome whistle swings on his chain, clattering against the fluorescent-lit front panel of the machine. Wet with condensation, the chilled can slips from his fingers. Skitters to pick it up. He kicks it, sending it rolling down the hall in the direction of his laboratory door. "Let me help you with that, Professor," says a young lady, stifling a laugh as she approaches from the opposite direction. They met in front of the lab door, where she crouches to retrieve the cola in her other hand. She carries a sheaf of pink message slips. "I heard you were in the building," she tells him, "and wanted to make sure you got these. Some of them look important." She wags the chits. "They really piled up yesterday. I'd have put them on your desk, but you've got the only key." "Thank you, Miss Jenner. Most kind." His funny little accent delights the woman. He puts his key in the lock and opens the door a crack. "I regret to become such a nuisance, but could I ask you to screen my calls again today? I have entered a critical phase of my research, and it is important that I not be disturbed." "Oh, certainly, Professor," she giggles. "Good of you to look after me." He takes the message from her, slips into his lab, and tries nudging the door closed. "Oh, wait, Professor." Miss Jenner thrust a hand through the narrowing crack. "Your soda." "Clumsy me." He takes the can, nods a smile, and pushes the door shut. Inside the room is lit by a dim security light. The rows of computers, the multitude of monitors, and the various other electronics scattered about the lab are all still. No humming, whirring, winks, or flashes. Zarnick flips a bank of switches adjacent to the door. Near the file cabinet overhead, lighting flickers on, filling the room with its cold, sterile energy. The equipment remains dark. He crosses to the desk and sets down his things, putting his lunch bag with the cola off to one side. The messages near the phone, propping his tote bags on the chair, he removes paperwork from the first, a stack of computer printout, various magazines that include People and Buzz, and the morning editions of both the Journal and the Post. From the second, he removes half a dozen blockbuster videotape cases. These he stacks atop the VCR that he has used to demonstrate his graphic realization. Zarnick tosses the totes onto the floor and plops into the chair, sliding the phone and the pink slips in front of him. He puts on his reading glasses, looks at the top message, and heaves a weary sigh. Pausing a moment, he reaches to open the desk's file drawer. Inside is a 2-liter bottle of Jack Daniels. He lifts it from the drawer, removes the cap, and downs an eye-opening swig, shaking his head and flapping his lips, horse-like. He recaps the Jack and plunks it on the desk next to his bagged peanut butter sandwich. Sorting through the message slips, he arranges 2 piles. The shorter stack, only 3, are calls he must return. The deeper pile consists of messages from the press, local television, national news magazines, and scientific journals worldwide. One by one, he crumbles the press queries and lobs them blindly backwards over his head. There's a wastebasket against the far wall, but the little pink projectiles don't even come near it, falling randomly, ticking upon impact with the cement floor. The reason there are so many messages is that Zarnick didn't come in at all yesterday. He had thoroughly enjoyed Saturday night's party, and Sunday's hangover was, in the imaginary parlance of his assumed homeland, a dretchdill. He awoke dry-mouthed around noon with a headache that left him longing for death. Searching his apartment for aspirin, finding none, he asked himself, what would Dr. Zarnick do? Certainly that the ancient bromide regarding the hair of the dog must trace its roots to Eastern Europe. The hair of the mutt. The course to his cure was clear. Jack and Coke, to the rescue. But he had not done his weekly shopping on Saturday. The breaking news of his discovery had kept him busy at the planetarium all day. so there was no cola, diet or otherwise, among the sparse supplies in his pantry. No problem. It wasn't the pop that bit him. Jack did it, and Zarnick was always careful to keep plenty of Jack on hand. By Sunday evening, though, Jack was long gone, and Zarnick awoke sometime Monday with the mother of all Drechtels fruitlessly searching his apartment again for aspirin. He asked himself, what would Dr. Kevorkian do? While clever enough to pose the question, he hadn't the courage to answer it. So he unplugged his phone and took to his bed. Now, Tuesday morning, the crisis has largely passed, and Zarnick feels a sense of accomplishment and being up, dressed and seated at his desk. Before noon. To his credit, he hides the residual hangover, well, due largely to the fact that the astronomer always looks as if he slept in his clothes. He's also pleased at the efficiency with which he has dispatched so many inconsequential messages that accumulated yesterday, but the time has arrived to deal with those remaining calls. The three important ones that must be answered. The first is from the mayor's office, asking Zarnick to return the call. There's no message, only a phone number, but he assumes they simply want to make sure he has seen the new ad campaign. Indeed, he has. Those ads provided the only bright spot in his dismal Monday, and the new ones that appeared this morning, helping to get him out of bed and send him on his way. He opens both newspapers on his desk to peruse them again. He slips off his glasses and stands stepping back a foot to enjoy their impact. Marvelous. He sits again, reaches for the phone, and dials the number on the slip, eager to express his gratitude. The other phone rings. A man answers. Cultural Liaison's office. Yes. Hello. Dr. Pavo Zarnick here, returning your call. Might this pertain to the beautiful advertisements that graced my desk this morning? Indeed it does, Professor. The response was a twisted, cynical inflection. Undaunted, Zarnick continues. I'm flattered beyond measure, of course, and wish to thank whoever is responsible. There's a pause. I'm responsible, Arlen. Can't you read? Zarnick yelps, dropping the receiver as if it had bitten him. It lands near the bottom of the journal's open page, emitting bitsy bursts of laughter. Zarnick fumbles with his glasses and leans close to read the tiny type of the ad's credit line. Victor Utley's cackling pours from the phone. Horrified, Zarnick watches the laughter spill like a mire upon the page, disappointing the tribute with its mockery. The crowing breaks off long enough for a little voice to call from the receiver. Arlen! Still there? With a gingerly touch, Zarnick picks up the phone. It's worth a try. He says, feigning anger, laying on the accent. I have never heard such rudeness. You surely mistake me for another party. Oh, cut the crap. Utley's voice is calm and emotionless. It had been quite a performance, Arlene Farber, but the curtain is about to fall unless... One more try. I do not know what you talk about. Then let me spill it out. You have been posing for some weeks now as Pavo Zarnick, an astrophysicist, and you have made recent claims of a discovery that has generated widespread interest among the press, the public, and even the military. But in fact, you are not Zarnick, you are Arlene Farber, an actor who's enjoyed reasonably steady work over the years, but who still awaits his big break. I, Victor Utley, know you well. About 5 years ago, we were cast together in a couple of summer stock productions in New England. Are the pieces falling in place now, Arlen? After that run, I returned home to Chicago, and you, as I recall, got into the dinner theater circuit down in Florida. We didn't cross paths again till that party on Saturday night. I didn't think you saw me. If you did, you didn't recognize me. But I saw you. Everyone had their eyes on you. Mr. Instant Celebrity. I intended to approach you to tell you about the ad series I was planning. So I waited while you hobnobbed with Claire Gray, whom I was dying to spend some more time with, but you hogged her most of the evening. As I waited watching, I kept thinking that I already knew you, but that was impossible since we had presumably never met, and I found it strange that you had taken such an interest in Claire Gray, her theatrical background being so removed from the career of a foreign astronomer. And then, well, it clicked. So tell me, Arlen, how'd you fall into this gig? The man posing as Zarnick drops his accent and says into the phone, I admit nothing. Tell me what you want. Victor Utley overplays a chummy tone. I want to know how you've been, Arlen. I want to know how you managed to parlay a third-rate acting career into a stint as director of Civic Planetarium. I'd also like to know how you think you can possibly get away with this. And naturally, I'm curious about the whereabouts of the real Dr. Zarnick. But most importantly, I'm wondering what it's worth to you if I keep all these questions to myself. Arlene Farber repeats. Tell me what you want, Victor. 10. 10 what? Grand. Now it's Arlene Farber's turn to laugh. For Christ's sake, Victor, you sound like a small-time hood. 10 grand, indeed. What have you been up to? Rehearsing a 2-bit role in some off-loop mob-land melodrama? Really, Arlen? Utley is getting testy. $10,000. Is that better? Precise and proper. However you say it, it's still the price. Or else. Farber laughs louder than before. There you go again, Victor. Or else. Big man. Big threat. Or else what? Or else I'll tell Mark Manning everything I know. That catches Farber's attention. He doesn't respond. I called him at the newsroom 10 minutes ago. Turns out he's not in town today, but he knows I need to talk to him. I'm sure he'll see me soon. Farber needs to explore his options, to weigh Utley's leverage. I'm not sure I can do what you're asking. If I can't, and if you talk to Manny, then it's over, and there's nothing in it for you. Utley has planned this conversation carefully, and his tone conveys confidence. If I tip Manning off, there'll be a big splashy expose, and I'm the source, the hero. It'll look great for the mayor's office, and I'll be sitting pretty for the next 30 years or so. If, on the other hand, you collaborate with me, I'll simply tell Manning what a splendid job he's done of reporting your discovery, how it's a boon to the city, how the mayor's pleased as punch, the usual crap. The ads I'm running will reinforce all this, and the mayor already is pleased as punch. Plus, I can turn a little profit on the side. Comprendes? Either way, I win. Farber has little room to wriggle. I'll have to make a few phone calls. I bet you will. So get cracking. Hold on, Victor. Some details. When do you need it? No rush. End of the week. Let's say Friday. Payday. Cash? Check? Or credit card? Don't be funny. How do we get it to you? Utley hasn't considered the logistics. Shame on you, Victor. The serious extortionist is always prepared for, how do you quaintly phrase it, the drop. First things first. You let me know when, and I'll tell you where. Farber tells him, I can't make any promises, but I'll do my best. You'd better, Utley growls with attempted menace, but lacking impact. He was never much at method acting, and he slams down the phone. Arlen Farber mocks Utley's bravado, slamming his own phone. The slimy dweeb, the very idea. He rips the Zarnick ads from both papers and crumples them into a single wad, which he serves like a volleyball, hurling it to the ceiling. The mashed newsprint glances off a light fixture and plummets behind a stack of electronic equipment. That was an unexpected crimp in Farber's morning. He uncaps the Jack Daniels and takes a swig, then turns his attention to the 2 remaining messages. One is from Manning, but Utley just said the reporter is out of town 2 days, so there's no point in calling him. The other slip contains only a phone number. No name, no message. Farber recognizes the number. It's a pager. And yes, they need to talk. He picks up the phone, punches in the number. He hears 3 short beeps, and then punches in his own number and hangs up. He waits, checks his watch. It's not yet noon, but he decides to get his lunch ready. Opening the brown paper bag, he removes the sandwich, unfolds the wax paper, and smooths it before him on the desk. He picks up half of the sandwich, sliced neatly on the diagonal, and swipes the cut edge beneath his nose as if sniffing a wine cork or a fine cigar. His eyelids flutter as he inhales the musky rush of peanut butter. Then he lifts the Diet Right from the pool of its own sweat. The can isn't cold anymore, barely cool, and pops it open. Swallowing 3 big gulps, Farber isn't thirsty. He's making room in the can. He steadies the jug of Jack Daniels over the can and drizzles booze through the hole. He reminds himself that he really ought to bring a glass from home. The phone rings. Farber spatters whiskey on his sandwich. He answers the phone. Yes, the other voice echoes. Yes. Zarnick here. Where the hell have you been, Farber? I tried reaching you all day yesterday. He hesitates. Something came up at home. I didn't get your message till now. Not a minute too soon, the other voice tells him. You've been booked for a special performance this afternoon. A matinee, so to speak? Listen, Farber interrupts. We've got a problem. A big one. An impatient sigh. And what might that be? Someone in the mayor's office recognized me. We once worked together. Farber recounts the call from Victor Utley, concluding he wants $10,000, or he's taking the whole story to Mark Manning. 10? He's undersold himself. Pity he doesn't know who he's dealing with. Farber swirls the cola can, mixing his cocktail. This is only the beginning, I'm sure. He'll be back for more. That's what you think, the voice snorts. That's what he thinks. When does he want it? Friday. Perfect. A cheap price for a bit of time, which is all we need. Really, a week from now, this character's threats will be decidedly irrelevant. Farber drinks from the can. I don't know what you mean. You're not supposed to. Remember? Just keep up the act. You're being well paid for this role. As I said before, you've got a command performance this afternoon. I do? He covers the phone, aiming his mouth sideways to belch. Be at the new Gethsemane Arms Hotel at 3. You'll be expected at the penthouse suite, the temporary encampment of the CFC. What? The Christian Family Crusade? What in hell do they want? As you probably know, they set up temporary headquarters in Chicago to mount their protest of the gay rights rally at Celebration 2000. As long as their board is in town, they're screening some political candidates, local would-bes and other hopefuls, for recommendation to their membership. What's that got to do with me? Very little, actually. But all the recent publicity has raised concerns about the anti-fundamentalist implications of Zarnick's discovery. They want to question you. Now look, another slurp. I'm getting a little tired of all these extra demands. Playing the role is one thing, but there's been way too much dirty work. Serious dirty work that we never agreed to. The other voice commiserates. I know. Just play along with the CFC, be respectful, and try not to rile them. We don't need to incite a religious war over this. Let's just buy a little time. Farber sets his can down and he asks point blank, what are we buying time for? What exactly is this all about? Tut-tut. That's off limits. All you need to know is that for now, you are Pavo Zarnick. And Zarnick's mandate is to convince the world through Mark Manning that he has discovered a 10th planet. Understood? Yeah. Farber thinks of something. Manning has been trying to reach me. I'm sure he wants to follow up on those technical points I couldn't provide last week. I need some help here. The other voice is assuring. Say no more. We'll get you the information and we'll get you some cash. The loot for Utley. Now remember, Gethsemane Arms at 3. And the other voice clicks off. Farber sets the receiver back on the phone. It's almost noon. He has nearly 3 hours to kill before leaving for his meeting, and he knows exactly how to spend it. Plucking a cassette from the pile of videos, he switches on the VCR and removes the tape that was in it, labeled Planet Demo. Tossing it to the far side of the desk, he loads the new tape. Then he scurries behind the desk to turn on the television monitor and position its wheeled cart so the screen aims squarely at his chair. When the picture tube warms up, those white crosshairs still run through its center. He's dealt with this before without success. Once again, he twiddles a few knobs on the back of the set, pounds the cabinet. But it's no use. The crosshairs remain. He'll have to live with them for the next 2 hours and 20 minutes. But it's a small annoyance that he would gladly endure. Seating himself, Farber leans forward to tap the play button. A few seconds later, he hears the fanfare and sees the spotlights on the 20th Century Fox logo. It's an old one. It's black and white. It's all about Eve. God, what a magnificent film. Even on its umpteenth viewing, it'll be 50 years old next year, maybe shortly after Farber was born. He wishes he'd aged so well. He pushes his chair back, plops his feet on the desk, and watches the opening scene, the award ceremony, narrated by George Sanders, as that sleazebag critic Addison DeWitt. He loves the way the movie freeze frames on Anne Baxter, Eve, just as she reaches for the award. Then begins the flashback that tells the whole story. For one hand, Arlen Farber munches the peanut butter sandwich. From the other, he sips Jack and Diet Right. Celeste Holm, wearing a big mink, has just bumped into Baxter. Dear, sweet, innocent, unspoiled, youthful, starstruck Eve, skulking around like a drowned rat in the drizzle outside the theater, hoping to get a glimpse of Bette Davis. It doesn't get much better than this. The rigors of astrophysical research. Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold. To offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides. And in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.